Your ability to shoot tighter groups with more consistency is about to change. The anchor sight is a simple yet effective way to also increase your long-range accuracy levels. It also improves your ability to shoot in low light conditions by eliminating the need for a peep sight, allowing you to find a consistent anchor point in any situation. Adding the anchor sight to your bow system will ensure consistent accuracy by easily detecting flaws in your shooting form at full draw before releasing an arrow. Common problems for bow hunters such as bow hand torque, inconsistent anchor placement, and exact sight alignment are solved with this simple and effective tool.
In this video, we'll show you how to mount the anchor sight to your bow. The anchor sight comes fully assembled with factory presets and has everything you need for installation right out of the box.
We'll also go through the setup and adjustment sequence.
We'll wrap up with a few techniques that the anchor sight, when used properly, will further improve your shooting results.
Your anchor sight was milled from a single billet of aluminum for strength and long-term durability in the field. This device takes a serious beating without compromising accuracy. And the polycarbonate sight tube uses a light-absorbing material that will help you see better in low light conditions. Traditional peep sights actually rob you of precious shooting light by reducing the amount of light that your eye gathers and can blur the image of the target behind the sight pin as well. You can now remove your peep sight. The setup of your anchor sight will take about 15 minutes. First, we're going to mount the anchor sight frame to the riser of your bow under your existing sight bracket. You can mount the anchor sight in front of the bow between the riser and sight assembly or between the back of the riser and cable. You can also choose a high or low frame position by simply turning the frame over. You need about 2 inches of free space in front or rear of the riser to mount the anchor sight. The choice to mount the anchor sight on either the front or back of your bow will likely be dictated by whatever type of sight you are using and the distance from the bow to the sight pin assembly. When you mount the anchor sight frame, you'll need to adjust your sight pin assembly about 1/8 of an inch to compensate for the frame thickness. Be aware when mounting the frame that it has to be in a position for attaching the anchor sight clear of your pins when at full draw and for best sight picture. Now you need to do some close range shooting before attaching the anchor sight to the frame. Shoot at the target using the anchor point you prefer until you have your arrows grouping well. Then it's time to attach the anchor sight. Add the anchor sight housing to the sight frame. There are 3 positions that the housing can be mounted to the frame. The frame can also be tilted up or down. Choose the option that allows the anchor sight to be as close to your sight pins as possible at full draw, but without interfering with your field of view of the target. There are 4 possible mounting positions for the anchor sight. Feel free to pause the video to review these positions. They are forward high, forward low, rear high, and rear low. Mount the sight housing by attaching it to the sight bracket as shown. Install one of the brass washers between the outside of the frame and in the head of the slot screw, with the last 2 washers installed between the sight frame and the anchor sight housing. Now snug both screws just enough to provide a slight friction so not to lose control when rotating. Now let's move on to adjusting the alignment, beginning with the sight tube. First, rotate the sight tube in or out until the dot almost fills the inside of the red circle on the lens when viewed at arm's length. Next, set the anchor sight's crosshair alignment by rotating the tube until the nearest crosshair line is vertical or parallel with your bowstring, like this. Note that the vertical line may arc toward or away from the string, so make your best estimate, then lock down the sight tube. Turn the set screw in until it makes contact, then go 1/2 turn more. Be careful not to go past half a turn. The micro adjustments are factory preset to allow a slight friction on the head of the micro screw and should not need adjusting, but it can be adjusted if more or less friction is needed. Now, with an arrow in your bow pointed safely at the target, come to full draw. Glance at the anchor sight while at full draw and go to your natural anchor point. Rotate the anchor sight on the frame to get the dot as close to the circle on the lens as possible. Then tighten the mounting screws, starting with the slot screw. Finish the alignment with the micro screws. Now draw, aim, and recheck the dot position. The The right and left dot position can only be changed using the side micro screw. A clockwise turn of the micro screw located on the side moves the dot to the left. A clockwise turn of the vertical micro adjustment will bring the dot down.
For left-handed archers, reverse the turns to get the same results.
Now that you have the dot inside the red circle and everything tightened down, you can sight in on the target. Your arrow might be slightly off target when actually using the dot and circle line for the first time. You have the option of moving your front pin as you normally do, or use the micro adjustments on the anchor sight to get your arrow back on target, thus moving your eye back to the original anchor point position you started with. The anchor sight ensures repeatability and consistency by quickly identifying at full draw common shooting errors, such as bow hand torque, inconsistent hand placement in your bow grip, varying anchor point locations, and irregular head positioning. With the anchor sight, you can eliminate the need for a peep sight, gain precious minutes of shooting light, and become more consistent shot after shot. You will know when to release the arrow and never second guess your ability to put more trophies on the wall.